Big Dunk, and I'm back with another vinyl video, and this one's going to be a little bit different from the last ones because this is just going to be me going over all the vinyls I have in my entire collection because I've been stacking them up. Now I've talked about most of them over the span of the videos, but I do have a few new ones which I haven't talked about yet, and there was even a one that I forgot to mention in general. We'll get to all of those. I have 28 total. And I'm just going to run it through artist by artist. There's some artists I have more albums from than others. So I'm going to start with the artists I have the most albums from, and I'm going to go through in descending order, and then into the artists that I only have one album. I'm not going to really do what I used to do, just going all in depth, because I have a lot of albums to talk about. So I'm going to be pretty base level with what I say. If you want to hear my more in-depth stuff, you can comment asking me about the album, and I'll let you know how I feel about it. But I mean, when I get down to like the single albums, I might start throwing out like favorite songs and stuff. But I mean, as I started out, I'm just gonna keep it light because I don't want this video to be an hour long. And I don't think you guys do too. So we'll get right into it with the artist whose most albums I have. Let's go. The first artist, out of the 28 albums I have total, I have 6 albums from them, the most of any other artist I have. And I feel like if you know me, there's only one artist it would be, and that is Mr. West. So, the albums I have, I guess in descending order from release date, we got The Life of Pablo, most recent. We got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. We got 808s. We got Graduation. We got Late Registration. And we got College Dropout. And the main thing I just love about Kanye's discography and why I got all these albums is number one, the quality of music is fucking insane. But number two, just the amount of variety you get. Like, I don't think there's one album here that really sounds like the other. You could kind of make a case between these two, but I feel like there's enough differences in just how the production styles are on those albums that you can kind of give them a pass. But I mean, everything else just kind of stands alone in his career, which I think is great. Um, there's just so much variety of songs I could throw on any given time, any given mood. There's a song in here that I could play. If I had to say my top 3 albums, number one would have to be The College Dropout. This is just one of my favorite albums, period, to listen to front to back. The sequencing is great. I love the skits and how they work and feed into the next songs. There's not a bad song on this album, no skips in my opinion. And it's got some of my favorite songs by Kanye, so what more can I say? Number 2, this actually hasn't been my number 2 for very long, but it's just been recently. I've been spinning the hell out of this album, and it's really been growing on me. And that is actually Late Registration. I honestly believe this is some of his best rapping, just like technical rapping performances, some of his best flows. And the production is just super illustrious. It's like it's very triumphant. It's very orchestral. I'm struggling to find adjectives. They're rolling around in my head, but I'm trying to pick out the right ones. But I mean, overall, great album, great follow-up to The College Dropout. In my opinion, College Dropout's better, though. And number 3 would be Mr. 808's. This and Yeezus are probably the 2 albums that sound the most distinctive. And I do love this distinctive sound from Kanye. It's got some of his best songwriting and most catchy hooks, as well as just some actually good singing performances, which, as much as people love to rag on Kanye, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for what he did vocally on this album. I mean, yeah. And I may as well, honestly, because I have 3 other albums here. I'll talk about them. Number 4 would be Graduation, my least favorite of the College Dropout series, just because it has the most skips, in my opinion. Big Brother and Drunken Hot Girls, I don't really come back to. Barry Bonds is all right. And then everything else is pretty good. But I mean, compared to the other albums, I don't have 3 skips on the other albums. So we got that. Pablo up next. Number 5. Number 5 is Pablo. I mean, this album, it's a little rougher around the edges. It's kind of wacky, the sequencing, but you get some of the best modern Kanye, period, on this album. Some good rapping, some great rapping, honestly. Yeah, that leaves us with Dark Fantasy at the bottom. Again, just because it's at the bottom doesn't mean I don't like it. I wouldn't own it if I didn't like it. As an album experience, I do like listening through to it, but just as an album in my discography that I listen to the most, I don't really come back to this one as much. There's some songs on it like Gorgeous, like Runaway, like Devil in a New Dress. I almost said New Slaves. Ugh, I'm kind of tired. I like Devil in a New Dress and like Power. But aside from those songs, nothing else really is in my rotation like that. But it still is a great album. And yeah, I mean, that's my Kanye section. That's about it. Yeah, let's go on to the next albums. Okay, the second artists, or band, I guess I'll say band, that we have up next, going from 6 albums to 3 albums. I have a good amount of artists with 3 albums. So for those ones that are 3 albums, I just went from, I guess which was released earlier. So we're going to talk about the earliest stuff I have right now, and we got none other than Pink Floyd. Overall, we got Dark Side of the Moon. We got Wish You Were Here. And The Wall. I don't know why my computer decided to go to sleep mid-recording, so that cut it off. Sorry about that. But anyways, where was I? Pink Floyd. So, psych rock band. A big influence in the 70s and onward. And yeah, if I had to rank my favorite albums, I'd say Dark Side of the Moon, #1. This is just like their most, I'm not going to say cohesive. I don't really know what word I'm saying, but like, it's just very smooth sail. Everything flows together nice and evenly. And there's like no skips on here whatsoever. Everything hits. #2 is The Wall. As an experience, honestly, as like an entertainment experience, it might be better because this has a movie related to it. It's got like a very big concept that it's always following. It is a little longer, but it is still good. The Wall, fire, fire, fire. And then that leaves #3 to be Wish You Were Here. Again, great album. It just doesn't really stand up to the other two for me. The title track is really good, and I like Welcome to the Machine. Shine on You Crazy Diamond. It's good, but it just has a slow pickup, and that's really why I prefer the other two. But let's get on to the next artist. Also, with 3 albums, and it's someone that you've been kind of seeing that you haven't even known on my shirt, we got Doom. So, we got Operation Doomsday, we got Food, and we got Mad Villainy. Now, Doom is just one of my favorite, probably my favorite lyricist, or just rapper in general, like technical rapper. Just the shit he says amazes me, with the rhyme schemes, and just how he flows and shit, like, ooh, no one can really compete with Doom. I haven't seen anyone compete with Doom, and I doubt we will ever see someone compete with Doom. So, let's rank his albums. #1, honestly, it's really close between these two, but right now I'm feeling more Mad Villainy. Just Doom and Madlib. I wish they worked more because this album is something special. The production is just on another level. It's very simplistic, but yet it's like, how the hell did he think to do that? It's simplistic, but it just, you can't help but go crazy. There's the man himself who's cooking up. Shouts out Madlib. #2, we got Food. Just as a solo Doom project, this is definitely my favorite one. I mean, just front to back listen. It flows really well. I like just the food narrative in general. The funny little skits in the middle of the album. Like honestly, most albums, the skits aren't really all that, aside from what I said with Kanye in the College Dropout. But I mean, this one I do like them because it's got some nice music in the background and it's oddly trippy. Because he has him splicing in all these like cartoon and radio show sound effects and stuff. And then #3, we got Operation Doomsday, the debut album. This one, I just feel like it's a little more rough than the other two, and I mean, you can kind of excuse that for this being his like debut album as Doom with the Doom name. But I mean, it's still really good rapping from him, and some good production from Doom as well. Speaking of lyricists I love listening to, coming up, another 3 albums, and these are some like perfect rap albums. We got Big Kenny Lamar. So we got Good Kid, Mad City. We got To Pimp a Butterfly, and we got Damn. So, I mean, just in terms of like writing a rap song and making it mean something and having the meaning and also making it sound good and something that I want to listen to. I don't think anyone really gets close to Kendrick. Like honestly. And I feel like he also is another artist like Kanye who we always see he's changing his sound up from album to album. He never really stagnates. I mean, just jumping from this Good Kid, Mad City to Pimp a Butterfly, it's like two completely different listening experiences, and that's what I love when an artist does that. Um, and then Damn as well, from To Pimp a Butterfly to Damn, and then from Damn to Mr. Morale. I mean, I don't have Mr. Morale. That's definitely my least favorite Kendrick album, but I mean, ranking these is honestly tough. For my number one, I gotta go with Good Kid. I mean, this is just a cinematic masterpiece, and it's not even a piece of cinema, so I don't even really need to say anything more, but I mean, just the storytelling on this album. I love how, like, I don't know, man, the world building is just something else. You really feel like you're just like right next to him, experiencing all this shit. And I feel like that's something that not many artists can really make you do through their lyrics. So, I mean, this album definitely holds a special place in my heart. And it's been an album that I've known about for so long. Like, I was listening to Swimming Pools when I was in like second and third grade. Probably shouldn't have been listening to that, but up number two has got to be To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, most people I feel like put this at number one, but I just have more memories attached and more nostalgia for Good Kid, and I just love the narrative behind it. But I mean, I don't think anyone's made an album that is this deep topically that can also sound this good and just make me want to like bust it. I can't even dance. Like, I'm white and I'm lanky and I'm tall. Like, those aren't good signs for trying to be a dancer. And this shit makes me want to dance. I mean, just the funk and the jazz influence are absolutely amazing. Kendrick's rapping is on point. What more can I say? And that leaves us with number three, Damn. Damn honestly has some of my favorite songs on it, like Pride and Fear and Duckworth. Like, those three are some of my favorite Kendrick songs ever. But I feel like as an overall album, it just doesn't really hold up to the other two for me. It's still great though. All right, up next, another three albums. This is the second to last artist that I have three albums for. So let's get into this artist right here. You guys, one of my favorite new age artists, probably my favorite new age artist, and it's XXX We got Revenge. This is like a EP kind of thing he dropped. This is not official, just like The Graduation. I got it from the same site as The Graduation, actually. We got 17, and we got Question Mark. And I mean, just the things I love about X, one is his versatility. Like, even just the track list of this is a perfect example. You got Look at Me, you got King, you got Young Bratsy, you got Rip Roach, which are more like, turn up, go crazy, crazy, crazy. But then you got I Don't Want to Do This Anymore, you got Looking for a Star, you got Valentine, you got Slipknot, which are more just like chill, kick back, more in your feelings songs. 17 is more just one emotion, but he really drives it home, and I feel like that's another thing I love, is just how he can really make you feel like what he's feeling. You can really just like sympathize, and he almost sympathizes with you for your pain. And then we got Question Mark, which is another album that just really showcases his versatility. As I said when I talked about it originally, you go from like a boom bap song like Infinity 888 to 4555, which is like some fucking screamo shit. And then you go to like Hope, which is, very melodic, very heartfelt. So, I mean, yeah, I just love that aspect to him where he can just really do anything and make you feel it. If I had to rank them, number one, gotta be 17. Just like, dude, this album. First time I listened to this, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is the guy who made Look at Me? This is the guy who made What in XXX Tarnation? Like, yeah, that was crazy. Number two, it's gotta be Question Mark. I mean, again, it's just got so many great songs on it, so many different songs on it. And it was actually really just showing what potential he had, and it's sad that he couldn't follow it up. And then number three, we got Revenge. It's just a short little 8 songs, but I mean, all the 8 songs are heaters. I love all the 8 songs, but I mean, these two are more like real albums. This is just something I saw, and it was like more to get as a fan not as like an entire album experience. I still listen to this a lot though. I love all the songs. And the last artist with 3 albums. Technically not really, you'll see what I mean, but we got Kid Cudi. So we got Man on the Moon 1, we got Man on the Moon 2, and we got Kid See Ghost. Now this is a collab album with him and Kanye. I just decided to put this in Cudi's area because Kanye already had more than enough albums for me to talk about. So, I can do that. But I mean, man, Kid Cudi is probably one of the only artists who I could really say rivals Kanye's influence on like this modern generation. Like Kid Cudi, I didn't really get hit by him. Like I know some people who are like a few years older than me really got touched by him. I feel like I was a little too young to really experience Cudi when he first came out. But that doesn't mean that his music still isn't special to me now. If I had to say my #1 album, it would have to be this one right here. Man on the Moon 2. As much as I love Man on the Moon 1, I'll talk about that, but I mean, I love the darker production and atmosphere and like, just so many banger songs. So many of my favorite Kid Cudi songs on here, and like, it's just always an album I love listening to front to back. #2, we gotta say, is this one right here, Man on the Moon 1. This is just a very upbeat, it's a very emotional, raw, it's a very vulnerable album, and I mean, it's just really shook up like the entire music world pretty much. Like no one else had really done something like this, and now you got this as like mainstream, and we got this guy to thank right here. And then #3, we got Kid See Ghost. This album, I love it. It's just super short, and I feel like I could not put it over these in good conscience because these are like full experiences that like he put his heart into. And this is also great, and I'm sure Kanye and Cudi put their heart into it, but like I don't know, man. 7 songs compared to like this amazing track list that I'm looking at on the back of these two. I can't do it. Okay, so the first and only artist that I have 2 albums for, and it is also the artist that I'm wearing a sweatshirt from, we got Mr. Scott. So yeah, right here we got Rodeo and we got Utopia, his first album and his most recent album. Utopia was the first vinyl I got. I actually originally bought the set to get the shirt, and I ended up getting the vinyl, and I was like, oh hell, let me get a record player, that'd be cool. And then that spiraled into this. So shouts out Utopia. But this is like probably my favorite album from last year. Still one of my favorite albums to play through. I just love pretty much every song off this. But I don't think I can really in good conscience say that Utopia is better than Rodeo just yet. We gotta let Utopia age out a bit. We gotta see how all of that goes. But for the time being, Rodeo is my #1. I mean, first of all, how different it is from everything that was coming out at the time, and just even how different it sounds today. Like, there's not much that sounds like Rodeo, and I mean, I think Travis Scott, like this to be his first like big introduction, his first like main album, that's insane. That's actually insane. Just back to back to back to back heaters. The only song I really say I don't really like is the Tori Moi song, but on here I have God's Country, which I just feel like is unfinished. God's Country is blatantly unfinished, and then K-pop just doesn't fit the mood of the song or the album, but I mean, overall, these are 2 amazing albums. On to the solo dolos, and the first solo dolo we got from 2000 is another non-rap album. We got Kid A by Radiohead. This is an album that I really only got into somewhat recently. Actually, from watching Hive Mind, shouts out to Hive Mind. They did their like favorite songs bracket, and the song Idiotech, I heard that and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's not what I thought Radiohead sounded like, because you hear Creep, that's about all you really hear if you've never actually like, gone into listen to Radiohead. You just know that one song. So I was like, don't really like that sound, honestly. It's just very played out. Like I've heard everything from the 90s pretty much sounds like that. Not everything, but like, so then when I heard this album, I'm like, oh shit, this is not what I expected at all. It like knocked my ass off. It fucking reattached it, and I'm just like, oh my god. It really just kind of, I don't even really know how to describe it. It's like, you got electric, you got psychedelic, you got some jazz influence. There's so much. I don't know. This is a one of one album. I've never really heard anything that sounds like it. And since I'm on the singles, I may as well just say favorite song. Idiotech, of course, the song that put me onto this, and How to Disappear. How to Disappear completely is that's just like, oh my god, that song's beautiful. Definitely give it a listen. Even if you don't listen to this whole album, listen to How to Disappear completely. You'll think. All right, the next album we got is At Long Last ASAP by ASAP Rocky. I think this is his second studio album, but this is definitely my favorite one. It's very psychedelic. You got the southern rap influence, the Houston scene definitely. Um, and I mean, ASAP Rocky's never been an artist that I was like super crazy about. And I knew this album, I knew some songs off it. But then I really like listened to it like 2 years ago. I really sat down and listened to it, and I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing out on. It doesn't have any skips in my opinion. And my favorite song would have to be the intro, Holy Ghost, honestly. I mean, just that instrumental. And I love the little hook or chorus from Joe Fox. And I mean, Rocky's verses, he just killed them. But yeah, I mean, definitely some good psych rap. Up next, we got another artist who I'd say is probably one of my favorites from this new generation, from my new age. And that is Lil Uzi Vert, and this is Love Is Rage 2. This is definitely my favorite project by them. And it's just got so many good songs. It's honestly hard for me to choose my favorite song, but I'd probably have to say 20 Minutes. Like, even though I've literally played the shit out of this song, it somehow has never become something that I've like overplayed for myself, that I've gotten sick of. I can listen to that song probably every day, and I'll still love it just the same. Very catchy. I love the melodies and the hooks that Uzi really gets on here, and it's got some pretty good rapping for Uzi standards. For Uzi standards, I should say. Uzi's not an artist you really listen to for his lyricism, but I mean, he does pretty well on here. The second to last album that we got today is The House is Burning by Isaiah Rashad. This was actually my introduction to him. I didn't hear The Sun's Tirade or Sylvia demos. So that's why I got it first, because this one like kind of holds a special place. It really introduced me to an artist that I'd never really heard of, and now I'm a pretty big fan, I can't lie. This album, it's got pretty much zero skips in my opinion. Like I did say that the From the Garden song with Uzi, it gets a little repetitive, but it's still a fun song. Like it drags on a bit too long for my opinion. But I mean, first of all, just look at the cover. I love the cover. A very chill, laid back. Got the Memphis in. I don't know if it's inspiration because I'm pretty sure he's from Memphis. So you just got the Memphis sound, but it's also very chilled, laid back. I love his delivery. He's got one of the most unique deliveries that I've heard in a while, and you can instantly tell when he's on a song, and it just fits super well with the vibes on this album. My favorite song would probably have to be HB2U. Just an insane outro. I'm a kind of a sucker for like double-sided songs, I can't lie, and especially when you execute it like that, I'm a fan. But about coming in from my last album, we got Jid, the Forever Story. Again, another one of my favorite newer rappers. And this is one of my favorite albums of the 2020s so far. It might even be above Utopia for me, honestly. And this is just like some amazing rapping. Jid's got one of my favorite flows of any rapper out now, and he really exhibits that on here. Also, the amount of beat switches with the flow switches. Um, it's just insane. My favorite song would probably have to be System. Um, just a very like deep song, very chill instrumental, and he's really just like spilling his whole heart out on the song. But I wouldn't say there's a single skip on the song. Stars is another one of my favorite songs from the 2020s. Definitely check out Stars and System. But yeah, that's about it. Again, I didn't really go that in depth about the albums. I didn't talk too much about them, and I hope that I wasn't super vague. I tried to do as much as I could, but I didn't want this to drag on any longer. It's already looking like it's going to be pretty long. And my voice is honestly kind of like crapping out. It is 12:51. I'm gonna try to edit this up. I probably won't get it out for you guys tonight. I'll upload it tomorrow. But if you made it this far into the end, you're actually a legend. Taking a rip of the cotton candy from Phase Rain and Dope is YOLO. It's kind of clogged. All right, now we go. Cheers. Ooh, that was clean. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.